Good morning, West Coast. Good afternoon, East Coast. Good evening, Switzerland. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Humanify Machines. My name is Lucas Sieber, and I'm Greater Zurich Area's Executive Director in the US. The Greater Zurich Area is a beautiful region in Switzerland, you might know that, but it is also an organization which is the official investment support and promotion agency of Zurich and surrounding areas. We are a public-private organization which supports companies from the US willing to expand into Europe. We are set up as a public-private organization with strong ties to Switzerland's top research institutes, including ETH, the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology. What do we do? As I said, we help American companies with their European evaluation and transition into Switzerland via corporate structure opportunities, peer industry and partner introductions, R&D partnering and incentive programs, site tours, staffing, and business plan preparation for meetings with local authorities. And the best thing is, it's all free of charge. Why do we do our webinars? Our webinars typically focus on pertinent issues that US companies focus on when expanding into Europe. Among these issues typically are taxation, labor laws, regulatory, and so forth, and increasingly Zurich's capabilities in terms of R&D and technology. Today we will focus on a technology which proves to be important to many different industries, from life sciences to machinery and everything in between. We talk about artificial intelligence, in short AI. Today I have the great pleasure to have Pascal Kaufmann, founder of Starmind International, and Andy Fitze, co-founder of SwissCognitive, the global AI hub, with me. They both substantially shape Switzerland's role in AI, and in just a moment you'll get the latest insights from Pascal as well as Andy. Let me thank first the Consulate General of Switzerland in New York for hosting us, or at least Andy and myself, generously to give this webinar today. Pascal is located in Zurich and will present from his Zurich location. Before we go into today's presentation, let me frame today's webinar a little bit. From robotics to artificial intelligence, Zurich has become a future-shaping hotspot for innovation. What you see on this map are some of Zurich's major R&D labs. The city is home to Google's largest campus outside of the US, employing nearly 2,500 engineers, including more than 250 artificial intelligence specialists with capacity to grow to a total workforce of 5,000. Another big name is Disney. The Swiss office of Disney carries out the computer graphics of some of Disney's super hits, and I'm pretty sure you all have seen them. Another big name is IBM Research. IBM has a long-standing tradition in Zurich and maintains a research lab in Switzerland since 1956. IBM Zurich is working on a number of projects, including Watson and blockchain, of course. The list goes on and on. Facebook, GoPro, Unique, Oracle, lately Magic Leap, and many others carry out sensitive research in our region. There are many regions why globally leading tech companies select Zurich to set up crucial research entities. Well, you might know it's beautiful, for sure. Quality of life is amazing. The regulatory and fiscal environment is very competitive, as you might know. However, the main reason for all these companies are most likely Switzerland's universities, from the universities of applied sciences to the University of Zurich and to ETH, the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology. ETH, founded in 1854, is Switzerland's answer to MIT, ranked one of the top universities in the world, #1 in continental Europe. More than 20 Nobel prizes have been awarded to its alumni, including Einstein in 1921. Today, it has 20,000 students and an annual budget of $1.7 billion. The close proximity to university research and specialized IT companies enables a valuable spillover of knowledge that will become even more important in the future. And if you are thinking about expanding into Zurich, please don't hesitate and contact us. Before I introduce Andy, let me do some housekeeping and acquaint you with what you see on your screen. To the left is the GoToWebinar viewer through which you can see the presentation. To the right is the GoToWebinar control panel where you can raise your hand, ask questions, and select your audio mode. A Q&A will follow at the very end. Please don't hesitate and submit your questions and comments via the questions panel to the left, or you can also use Twitter or any other social media platform and include the hashtag GZA webinar. Please note, today's presentation is being recorded and will be provided to your inbox within the next 48 hours. So now it's time to give the floor to Andy, but before I do that, let me briefly introduce the guy next to me. Quite impressive what he did so far in his life. Andy is co-founder, together with Dalit, of SwissCognitive. It's an initiative which promotes cognitive technology around the globe. Today, he advises large companies, management teams, and executive boards in overall digital transformations and holds worldwide presentations. Prior to this, Andy was CIO of the Swiss technology group RUAG, and before joining RUAG, Andy was responsible for IT governance at one of the Swiss giants, PostFinance. Last but not least, Andy and his team are currently nominated for the Swiss ICT Award as Best Newcomer. We will include a link to vote for Andy and his team in our follow-up email. Please don't miss the chance and give them the vote. Andy, the floor or the screen is yours.
Yeah, thanks to Lucas to introduce me. And yes, we are nominated to the Swiss ICT Award. We are really proud to have this nomination. So in what we do as SwissCognitive, so I have to just to hear how it works. It's low. It's low. Okay. Okay, this slides I begin with here. We started with some economy facts around the world. So the really great smart technology growing factor around the globe. So we are ready to use AI, I would say, in a short. So the next one is the huge potential of automation, even without AI technology. And the last one, and I was a CIO, I know how it works. If you have to cut your budget or to have more efficiency in your process, probably you have to go and use the concept of outsourcing. And these three facts was our moment to start SwissCognitive, because we saw that we should have new concept to the hand, not to outsourcing anymore. So to use smart in a smart way our brain, to use technology, to use the potential in the market, and to build something new. And that's the vision behind SwissCognitive. We like to see, to share the knowledge about AI, use AI, real use cases, real stuff going on. Not what we should talk about, what's happened in 10 years, lose all the jobs. So we really focus on what's happened today, what's really useful today. And that's also the reason why companies join us to make a step ahead in the terms of AI. So these 3 points here, we would like to become a global network for AI. We like to see that the Swiss can build an AI branch, a known industry in Switzerland. We saw the picture from Lucas before, so we're already there a bit, so we can have more and more out of them. And we really believe that to do this, we need the global network, the global expert with us. On the next slide, you can see why Switzerland. I go through part of them. So the innovation ground, as you saw by Lucas already, the openness and the global corporate citizenship, as we know, UN is with us, Red Cross, and so on. And that's the right place to start also an initiative like SwissCognitive, neutral, privacy, data protection, and so on. And that's the reason why SwissCognitive has a Swiss passport, but there are also many other reasons behind. One is the most innovative place to Switzerland, given some awards and some rankings around best country reports and so on. But have a look to this slide here. Publication in AI, and you will see China on the left hand. In the left chart, China has produced a lot of, and as well as the United States, a lot of publication in AI coming out from universities. But if you just switch to the right side, you can see if we combine this with the impact of all of this publication, you will see that Switzerland, as well as the United States, are far in front of all the other ones. So that's the reason we strongly believe Switzerland is the right place to combine all this power to make AI great. So and that's our tactic behind. So we combine the knowledge of hundreds of experts, developers from the field of economy, research, and politicians. And what we do really, we create an environment that ideas, pilots, project, as well also proof of concept, best practice can be exchanged by the experts, by C-levels, to become a better understanding what's going on in AI. The next slide, just a second. Here, the next slide, you can see what we already do in Switzerland, but that's also will establish in some other regions too. So we have some seminars, we have some city workshops, we have some other things that's already in place, but you can also see there are two planned events. One is Cognitive Flash, that's an AI TED Talk, and one global conference in AI. If we talk about membership, we are membership driven, but we do also public-wise many things. You will find this on the website. We're posting articles. You are more than happy to join us if you have any ideas of bringing in article, post, whatever expertise around this topic. We bring this to the public to discuss there on LinkedIn groups, on Twitter. We do also many things on face-to-face, one-to-one. And coming to the next slide, here you can see the facts and figures after around 1 year running SwissCognitive. We are more in the 30 industry sectors in it. More than 100 companies has recently joined us. Over 400 attendees with us in the different events. And today we are more than 12,000 followers on Twitter. And that ends up with lots of communication and debates going on there, and that's really great. That's exactly what we like to see. What's in for all the companies? Coming to my last slide, if we really like to see that the different companies that have joined us or working with us can have become a pioneer as an AI in their field, as an AI pioneer. Sorry, it's enabling the companies to make a step ahead, to use AI, smart technology, cognitive intelligence solutions that they can have an understanding how to use, that they have a society around them, a community around them to build up and to use really great experience, to become a pioneer in the field where they're in. So for example, a lawyer company, they can have a great experience in AI to shape around their own business. yeah, that's what's in for the companies, and that's my last slide. I hand over to Lucas.
Thank you so much, Andy, for your very insightful presentation, which gives me the opportunity to hand over in a minute to Pascal Kaufmann. Before that, let me remind you, you have the ability and the chance to ask questions to Andy as well as Pascal. Use the panel to the right on your screen or Twitter, hashtag GZA webinars, and we will take questions after Pascal's presentation. Let me now introduce Pascal Kaufmann, founder of Starmind International and one of the best known people in AI in the world and in Switzerland. Of course, Pascal has a degree in neuroscience and economics from the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, ETH, and also a degree from Northwestern University in Evanston, Illinois. He spent several years in the financial service sector in Zurich in the field of business development at Julius Baer. And then together with Mark Fontobel, he founded Starmind International in 2010. As Starmind founder, Pascal is responsible for strategy, stakeholder management, business development, branding, and expansion of his company. Pascal and his team have been awarded countless awards, and he frequently is being quoted by globally leading publications, including CNN or New York Times. Why that is, you'll learn now. Pascal, the screen is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Just a second. Okay. Can you see my screen, Lucas?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, great. Okay, welcome everybody. So live from Zurich, Switzerland. I like to give you like a short update on the state of AI, and also to share with you like contrarian viewpoints about AI. And I think the easiest way to do that is I just present to you some excerpts from the lecture I gave yesterday at ETH Zurich. ETH Zurich was already introduced to you by Lucas and Andy. So ETH Zurich is one of those leading research institutions. And I was invited to the Auditorium Maximum, which is like the largest lecture hall at ETH Zurich. So I had quite some stage fright. And this you also see when you look at the lower left. So this was me before the lecture. And yeah, I just want to show you like some highlights, and I'm very relieved that everything turned out smoothly, because when I started, I showed a video of JF Kennedy when he launched the Apollo missions, like the moon landing program. And yeah, I think the creation of AI to me is like the moon landing of the 21st century. It is an endeavor, and at least in Switzerland, not so many people are aware that it's a race for AI, and that it might be possible that there will be soon a breakthrough. And yeah, so this was the entry to this lecture. And I just want to share with you also the background where I started. So I'm a neuroscientist. I connected brains to robots. This is what you see here. I had to insert electrodes into visual nerves. This is what you see on your left side. And had to connect them with like mobile robots. This is what you see on the right side. And then those robots moved around, fed the video camera recordings directly to the visual nerves. And I inserted again electrodes to the output and fed them back to the wheels. And these were one of the very first cyborgs in the year 2001. And whenever we talk about AI, I think we need to be very clear and careful to distinguish science from science fiction. And yeah, what you see on the left, on the top, you see actually a completely blind guy. This person was mounted cameras in front of his eyes, like directly to glasses. And those visual recordings were directly fed into the brain. And this is possible since about more than 20 years. Whereas on the right side, this is science fiction. Although I would love to have my iPhone connected to my neural substrate, this is still like far from now. So with regard to time, I just want to share with you like 3 messages. I think the brain can best cope with 3 clear messages. So I'd like to summarize it quickly. Please be careful with the robot hype. I explained to you why I mean that. Then also, please beware of the AI hype. I like to share with you a few personal thoughts and observations. And here I agree with SwissCognitive. We need to unite. We should come together and tackle the mind code, and I think Switzerland is perfectly suited. And two organizations like SwissCognitive and Switzerland is able to attract a lot of talents, a lot of companies, and I like also to share with you a few ideas on how we could do that. And maybe not all of you are aware that the very first robots have been built in Switzerland. So these are robot puppets that you can visit in Neuchâtel. These robots are 250 years old. They are able to play the piano, write a letter, or even like design drawings. And in the back of those robots are like clocks, like pumps and levers and wheels. These are like wonders of mechanics, and also the Swiss watch industry has the source there. So when you compare that to today's robot, I think robotics has a problem. The expectations that we have to robots are extremely high, and the reality is a little bit frustrating because these are basically like toys that are driving around. And what you see on your right side is the reality. Actually, I have a vacuum cleaner back home, the iRobot, and my vacuum cleaner has fallen down so many times down the stairs or actually crash into the walls. It's just frustrating how the expectations do not meet what we currently are capable of. And just to share with you why that is, I think the robo hype was started by Google in December 2013, where they bought like AI or like robot companies. And then also funny that economists took that up. And then when you see the next slide here, the Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung, like a European journal, or also very recently, end of August, the killer robots, the BBC News. You have cute robots, you have very ugly robots, maybe like on the right side is a more ugly one. So the internet goes crazy about killer robots in warfare. And therefore, I also like to share with you a little bit what is possible, what is not possible. And how we did that, we just visited robot shows. It was my professor, Rolf Pfeiffer, who attended the latest state-of-the-art robots. And I just made a few pictures of those, and I'd like to share them with you. So this is the Shanghai Robot Show in July 2017. When you look at these robots, they look a little bit similar. When you go to the next one, a next series of robots, they also look very similar. And what I question a little bit is, all those investors, all those VCs that invest in these robots, will those expectations be fulfilled? And when you look at them, I mean, this is August 2017, and I show you the next sets of robots here, they all look very, very similar. And when you actually boil that down, what the functionality of these robots are, the honest conclusion actually is that these robots are actually at the level of an iPhone on wheels. So these robots are not capable of much more than communicating and actually moving around, and you can actually achieve the same here with an iPhone on wheels. And what I showed yesterday were like failures of humanoid robots, and the superstar in humanoid robotics is Honda Asimo. And when you look how Honda Asimo walks around, you see that it's actually not so much a difference to these Swiss robots who are like, which are like 250 years old, because the difference whether you have like pumps and levers and wheel in the back to like whether you have a Honda engine in the back is not such a big difference on a qualitative level. So qualitatively, we haven't advanced a lot, and the question is a little bit, what could we do to prevent the bubble from bursting? And I think we need to communicate clearly and responsibly to the media, to the politicians. We also need to be very honest what robots are capable of these days. And we definitely need, at some point in time, to fulfill the expectations, otherwise there will be a huge bubble burst. And yeah, I think there is only one larger hype than the robo-hype these days, and I think it's the AI hype. And I quickly like to share with you what I mean by that. When you talk about AI, and yesterday at ETH Zurich there was like a large exhibition on the latest state of AI, I visited about 10 booths, and I wanted to check what the definition of AI is. And it was interesting, they had like great definitions, but unfortunately all had different definitions of AI. So there's no consensus what even AI is, and therefore I like to share with you what you can read in the internet. It's actually a perfect storm between AI and robotics. These two hypes join forces, and when I look at these like terms here, this is what we call these days the AI. And I mean, Japan is talking about Society 5.0. It's the Baxter, it's the Pepper robot, which is actually invited to almost every exhibition that I attend. It's the Apple AlphaGo thing. So you see, all these things are now clustering the media, and the question is, how far are we really? We'll soon terminate this knockout outdoors. And I have to be very careful when I like to de-hype a little bit AI, because even the CEO of Google says we will move to an AI first world. So let me therefore share with you a thought experiment and also an interesting historic observations, because about 200 years ago we had a very, very similar AI hype. And the question back in the days was, is it true AI, what you see on your left side, or is it a little bit fake with a human inside? And I'd like to share with you this famous painting where Napoleon was beaten by a so-called chess Turk. So the chess Turk was a machine, a chess-playing machine, with a puppet that looked like a Turk, and this Turk was able to beat every human being in the game of chess. And the thing was that it took them about 80 years until they figured out why this was the case. And what you see here, it's a little bit cheating, because there were actually humans inside. So these were like small, very famous chess players that were in those machines, and they tricked all those human players, and it took them like 84 years until like they figured out that this was all fake, and then they burned this AI engine in Philadelphia. And my question is a little bit, how many years will it take us to find out that some of the AI products that some companies are selling are also a little bit fake, with humans in the background, or like it's just like some brute force algorithms. And therefore I think we should really aim to tackle the brain code, to create true AI, and be a little bit skeptical when you read about those AI products these days. And therefore the summary that I brought in yesterday was, actually a lot of AI products that we see these days is nothing more than like tinned human intelligence, like smart computer programmers investing a lot of efforts in anticipating what could happen. They kind of burn that into source code, and then they box their human intelligence and call that then AI, like artificial intelligence. And I find that a little bit cheating, because to me, AI would be machines that can come up with new ideas that are creative, etc. And I think we are far from that. And my question is also, my intention is, what could we do to shorten that gap? What can we do to do a breakthrough in AI? And yeah, just a quick systematic for you. What is AI? I mean, 1950, the term was coined, AI. 1980, that you see here on the slide, is machine learning. Like the very first computers, they were very fast. Therefore, you could do machine learning, which is kind of statistical method. And then since 2010, we have the famous deep learning networks. And just to summarize them like quickly for you, then you need 300 million pictures of cats in order to be able to say it's a cat or a horse or a cow. To me, that is not so intelligent. I mean, whenever you read in the newspaper big data and deep learning and AI, I think, or I suggest, you should be a little bit skeptical about that, because true AI would be small data. So you look at one cat, and like children do, you can extract the principle what a cat is. So I think big data, deep learning, they have tremendous achievements. I mean, when you look at the next slide here, they have beaten the world record holder in Go. And I think these achievements are impressive, but it's actually not AI. And I actually I jumped it over because I like to share with you an interesting chart how you can imagine those fast deep learning networks, how you can compare them with a human being. And I think this is an interesting chart that you see here. On the left side you have performance, and on the right side you have competence, like the x-axis. And extremely performing system like DeepMind, Deep Blue, they are like the big data machines. They are like the tools that are optimized to a certain purpose. They're extremely highly performant. However, when you give those machines the challenge to play on a chessboard with a 10-on-10 board, or when you ask a machine what can you do with a pair of shoes, the competence is very, very low of those like brute force statistical machines. And I think this is what we're lacking these days. We can, of course, build and optimize machines for a certain purpose, and of course they will outsmart the human beings, but actually what is lacking is the competence. So my question was, are there extremely competent devices with like low performance? And because I was in Switzerland, I brought in this example here, like some politicians, they might be extremely competent, but the performance may be a little bit lower. And I think this is an interesting chart here to see that the performance of systems should also be combined with competence. And I mean, this is what we need to tackle in AI. And to actually advance there, I think when you like to build artificial birds, you should not try to copy a bird, like with feathers and wings and bones. It's actually that you should look out for the principles. And I think today a lot of brain researchers and a lot of those AI huge initiatives commit the same errors, that they want somehow to replicate the human brain. And it was actually Leonardo da Vinci who found out, in order to build an artificial bird, you just have to focus on the shape of the wing. So the wing profile is what is crucial there. And therefore, I think we should look out for the principles of intelligence, and we should not copy paste human nature like we do it in the human brain projects and other projects where they try to really replicate like the brain. Okay, then I come to my favorite topic. We should unite. We should tackle the brain code. And I think the digital transformation is ahead of us. You can actually look out for your industry here. Like insurance people ask me, where is actually the insurance industry? Is it already behind the wave or under the water? So you can actually ask for yourself where your industry is here. I think we're living in very exciting times. At least for Switzerland, I know a few decision makers where I would love to give the t-shirt here, the just can't t-shirt. So people are telling me, yeah, no, we should do something, but actually we can't, maybe in 1 or 2 years from now. So if you know someone, I could organize such a t-shirt for you. And yeah, I think it's important to be sure in which teams are we actually playing. Do we play in the team robot, where we like to do away with human beings, that we just like to automatize everything, or should we play in the team human? And I think it's extremely important that we leverage human beings, and ultimately, actually, there could be a breakthrough. And what I mean by that is, just a few days ago, a very famous AI specialist like Geoffrey Hinton wrote at Axion in an online publication that the future of AI depends probably on some graduate student who is deeply suspicious of everything I have said and everything he taught. He said we need to start all over. And I think this AI pendulum is now swinging back. People know that the brain is not just like a fast computer. People know that there is no singularity these days. So I think it's very interesting when we have those organizations like SwissCognitive or like other organizations where we try to unite talents and interesting people to actually really trying to develop also AI and bring together like thought leaders. And I think, and this is an allusion to the Apollo program, that we could crack the brain code, that there is a possibility to create true AI. And what we're doing here in Switzerland is an initiative where we systematically identify talents around the globe. We invite them all to Davos, where the World Economic Forum actually takes place, and we give them just one single task to crack the brain code. And this is actually also an allusion to the Apollo program of the moon landing mission there. We want to create momentum. We want to create a positive spirit that we can actually do that. And Mindfire is like the Apollo missions structured in Mindfire 1, Mindfire 2, Mindfire 3, until actually there is a breakthrough. And this program will be announced at ETH Zurich in a few weeks from now. And a lot of interesting people and personalities from around the globe will come together to give a press conference on that strategic project to bring the epicenter of AI to Switzerland. This is the first visual about this program. SwissCognitive is also a partner, and without SwissCognitive there would not be programs like Mindfire. So I think that's a very, very interesting fundament that we have built in Switzerland. Yeah, stay tuned. And on a Friday evening, I just want to close with this one, Human Worker 2.0. I think they will talk to like huge artificial brains. The Human Worker 3.0, I think, would embed, would incorporate technologies, and ultimately I think the robots will do our jobs. I can well imagine a world where there are no jobs, where everything is done by computers or robots, and I would know what to do with my leisure time. And there are planets that are not yet discovered. There's a lot of countries I haven't been yet, so I think that would be a great world where we don't have to work anymore. Thanks, and sorry for the 1 minute too much time. Swiss people are usually very much on time, and I hand back to Lucas.
Thank you very much, Pascal. Great presentation, great insights, and probably quite unexpected to some of our viewers and listeners that one of the capacities in AI is actually making a statement against AI. So we received a couple of questions. The first one was of technical nature. The slides can now be downloaded on the right-hand side on your screen, and you also will receive an email with the presentation. But let's go a little bit deeper. We received a question for Andy Fitze from SwissCognitive. As we have companies and individuals around the world joining our webinar today, some of them were wondering how they can engage with SwissCognitive and the global AI Hub. Andy.
Thanks, Lucas, for the question. Yes, what you can do is you can participate as a speaker in different events around of us, so even online by Skype, or have a presentation on stage. You can go to our website and have a look there on our timeline. Where are all the events going on in the next few weeks and months. And the other thing is, if you want to join as a corporate, there are many other information on our website, SwissCognitive.ch. Find out there and contact us directly to our team, and we are more than happy to help you out to make a step ahead with AI.
Thank you so much, Andy, for this answer. I highly recommend to engage with SwissCognitive in the future. Definitely a rising star on the horizon. Next question, we probably have room for one or two more, is directed towards Zurich versus Silicon Valley. Just 2 days ago, we had a beautiful Forbes article on why Switzerland, particularly Zurich, is way ahead of Silicon Valley. I personally don't like this comparisons too much. We have our own identity. However, as we have the tremendous chance to ask this question to two of the experts in AI and leading technology in Switzerland, Pascal, Andy, why do you think Switzerland is similar to the Silicon Valley, and why do you think Switzerland is not at all similar to the Silicon Valley? Andy just directed to me that he would like to first.
Okay. I think, as Pascal mentioned, we have the opportunity to combine the brains, the natural brains actually, to make it happen with all the value around Switzerland. And we have already done such a dramatic history. And now we have all what we need, all the ingredients, like Mindfire, like Pascal himself, like his thinking out for the future. And also SwissCognitive. I think there are all the ingredients here with the large companies, with the universities around, and a great spirit around to achieve more and more for AI. So, Pascal, what's your insight?
Yeah, I fully agree with what Andy said. And I'd just like to add similarities. I think the can-do spirit is very similar here in Zurich. So people can try out things. I liked it a lot. Also the companies. I mean, we have companies like Google, Facebook, Magic Leap, etc. They're all also in Zurich City. This is also very similar to the Silicon Valley. What I think is not so similar is the density of the education institutions. I mean, world-leading universities like University of Zurich or like ETH Zurich, they have the crypto valley, etc. This is a very, very high density when you compare that to the Silicon Valley, which is a little bit bigger. And I also think the approach, our viewpoint when it comes to AI is contrarian to what most people believe in the Silicon Valley. So the concept of a singularity where fast computers instantly turn to be intelligent, I think not so many people in Zurich would believe in that. And I think also we do not so much buy into this AI hype. Just an example, recently there was in the news a saying about the Silicon Valley that people have created like a language, and it's an AI language, and they don't understand computers anymore. If a Swiss person had invented a system that he doesn't understand anymore, the Swiss guy would say, I horribly failed. But in the US, they say, oh, that's an AI language, etc. So I think the overselling of achievements is something that at least the Swiss people here in Zurich would not do so much. And therefore, I think there are similarities, but there are also contrasts when you compare Zurich to Silicon Valley.
Thank you so much, Pascal and Andy, for these answers. One last question, Pascal. Someone was wondering when Mindfire is kicking off. Do you have a date for that?
Yes, we have 17th of November 2017. It will be quite a big press conference at ETH Zurich. Then we officially announced that Mindfire has started. And like the Apollo 1 program, we need then a few months until we actually do the first mission. And the first mission will be on April 7 when we do that. So yeah, it's 17th of November. Please stay tuned. And I hope that quite many media will report about that.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Pascal. I think that's it. It's 12:45. Thank you so much, Andy, for bearing with me here at the Consulate General of Switzerland in New York. Thank you so much, Pascal, in Zurich, in Küsnacht, I assume. It has been wonderful to learn about your insights on AI in Switzerland and globally. Thanks for this Friday evening, afternoon session, and have a great weekend, everyone.
Bye-bye.